Okay, happy Wednesday, right? Yes. Tomorrow is my twin's birthday. I'm excited for that. Happy Wednesday, you guys. Thanks so much for jumping on to our Zoom team call for tonight. I know we've had a lot of calls recently on our team page instead of in Zoom, and tonight I just really wanted to see your faces. So I have been kind of busy and crazy lately, and I have had some things that have gone on in my personal life, I guess, that I feel really relate back to our business that I wanted to just kind of share with you guys. I feel like everything relates back to our business, really, for me anyway. And so I have just really been going through some things in the last few weeks, and I feel like what I'm learning is so applicable to all of us that I wanted to kind of share with you guys what's on my heart and what is thanks, Tabitha. And hopefully it resonates with you. So a couple of weeks ago, if you guys don't know my husband, he is really good at doing like videos, naturally taught. He does all my application videos. He's really good at taking photographs. He's like just really good at all of it. And a couple of weeks ago, someone reached out to him to do videos for their business. The business is it's local here. It's like a cycle studio. It has like, I don't know, like all fitness related stuff. And they asked if he would do videos for them, kind of like commercial style videos for them. And he hasn't been, because of Color Street, he's been home. And so he hasn't really done a lot of jobs like that. And so he was like, well, let me go over there and just see like what they need. So this was a few weeks ago. He goes there, he's having conversations, and about like an hour into his conversations, I get an alert on my phone that a substantial amount of money came out of our account. And I was like, what in the world? He's going there to do a job. We shouldn't be like putting money out. What is happening? And so immediately I call him and I'm like, like X amount, I'm not even going to tell you guys the amount, but X amount of money just came out of our account. What is happening? And he was like, oh, don't worry about it. I'll tell you in a little bit. And I was like, did he just like buy a pass or something? Like, I don't understand. So he gets home and he has this like bag with tissue paper, and is like we were supposed to go to lunch, right? So he has this bag and tissue paper. I open up the car because we're gonna go to lunch, and he hands me this bag with tissue paper in it. And I'm like, what in the world is happening right now? Now, if you don't know my husband, besides being really great at video and all of that, he is very fit. He is he loves to work out. So it's like we have a whole garage gym. It's like his whole thing. So in my mind, I'm like, we have a whole garage gym. Like, we don't need to go anywhere, right? So in the most awkward way, he hands it over to me, and I open it up, and it is a 1 year, guys, subscription, unlimited subscription to this fitness place, which truly is like my worst nightmare. But for him, that sounds like so good. So come to find out, they refunded the money like right afterwards. They were just using it to get the card. I don't know. But he decided to barter with them. Instead of getting paid for the videos that they wanted to do, he got a 1 year pass for me to go to this spin cycle workout place. Okay. So he's like, and I mean, my reaction is like, oh, great. What? Like, I didn't know what to say, right? I was like, okay, I'm a little bit confused. We don't ever make decisions, like big decisions, without each other. And he's expecting, like, just like when I give him something, I always want like some big grandiose response, like, oh, thank you so much. That's so awesome. So the part that's kind of like, the backstory is like, I struggle with my weight. It's not like a secret, okay? This is gonna get me all red, but I've kind of always struggled with my weight, I would say, since being an adult. And working out and all that doesn't come easy for me. It's not like a natural thing for me to want to do that. And so I was kind of like breaking out in hives basically when he's giving me this, thinking like, I'm used to working out at home if I do. And I'm like, the thought of going somewhere and working out with other people literally terrified me. But I'm like, okay, I'm going to embrace this because, and you guys, this is what came to my mind at that time. I tell my team all the time, I tell you guys all the time to go out of your comfort zone. And so for me, I was like, okay, I'm not going to take offense at this. He's not really trying to be like, you need to go work out. He's trying to encourage me. And he did this as a way of, not for us not having to pay for it, but it was like a good thing. So I'm trying to like, you know, I've worked on the mindset, guys. I've worked on the mindset. And so I'm trying to be positive about it rather than negative. So I immediately, and I'm proud of myself for this, immediately I buy spin shoes because I hear you can't really go on a spin bike without the appropriate shoes, okay? And I have kind of large feet, and so I just had this fear in my head that when I got there to like borrow shoes, which also sounded really weird, that I wouldn't be able to fit them, right? And so I buy the shoes, and then I'm like, well, they came in, so I'm all in now. I sign up for a beginner class, a beginner spin class. Okay. I have not ever taken a spin class in my life before. Well, that's not true. I took one spin class right after high school, and all I remember is that I was sore for like a week afterwards. That's all I remember. And I was in pretty good shape at that point. So I promise this is all going to come around, but I'm just giving you guys the whole picture. So I sign up. The class is on a Saturday. I sign up for the class. I'm like, beginner class, they're going to surely, it's not going to be as hard. Like they're going to tell us all about it, right? So I'm already like, okay, if the pandemic has taught us anything, it's that being isolated is like starting to feel normal, right? Being isolated feels like the right thing. And I'm kind of introverted in real life. And so for me, that was like a dream come true. I don't have to go anywhere. I don't really have to see people if I don't want to. So there were a couple of things that were just giving me anxiety about this whole situation. One, that I didn't know anyone. Two, that I assumed everybody who went there was totally fit and I would not belong. Which is the fear I always have in my mind. Three is that I was terrified to even walk into that room, let alone get on that bike. Okay. So the day comes. I'm really trying to like hype myself up. I'm asking Jay, like, will you go with me? Like, I would feel so much better if you do this first class, but he was like helping people in the garage, training them on that day. So I'm like, okay, I'm putting my big girl pants on and I am going to go do this class. I get to the class and, you know, I am sort of competitive. Like I mean, I like to see my name on a leaderboard. I think we know this. Like, that's just who I am. And so I go in there and there's the instructor, this petite little cute thing. And she's like, you know, trying to explain a little bit about the bikes, not a lot, but a little bit about the bikes. And, you know, she pulls out these 2-pound weights and she puts them on the back. And I'm like, okay, she's showing you how to like put it up, how to clip in. That's like the term, I guess. And which means putting your shoes in the little pedals. And I'm like, okay, I mean, how hard could it be? I know I'm not in great shape, but I don't think I'm in that bad of shape. So the lights all turn off. It's really dark, which is a plus. I'm glad that they do that. And I'm still kind of terrified, but there's 2 other girls that are brand new, who've never done this before. But before I know it, we're on the bikes and we're starting, and nothing is really explained as far as like, this is, take this at your own pace. This is what we're going to do. All she starts doing is we're starting to go, and she's like, we're going to have a test. So get to 120 RPMs, reps for whatever that means. Okay. And I'm like, 120, that sounds like a lot, but let me try, you know. She's like, we're going to do a little test to see how good you can do. And all of your names are on this leaderboard on the top. Okay. Everybody is up there and you can see like how fast people are going, how hard they're working, all the things. I've never done a spin class, you guys. I was already terrified. Even just sitting on that bike was like a big deal. So we start. I'm like, you know, trying to get to the 120 that she's talking about. And I'm like at 80, I'm looking at my watch, and it's saying like my heartbeat is going at like 175, and I'm like, this I can barely breathe. It's like 5 minutes in, right? We're doing like the test, and I'm dying already because I'm trying to follow everything she's doing, and I'm going really fast, and I'm trying to like beat all the people who are like clearly more coordinated than me. I didn't realize that spin involved so much rhythm and like going back and forth and doing all these moves, and I'm like trying to keep up. And I'm in the front row, which, hello, I don't know what I was thinking. I chose the seat and everything. I'm in the front row. I'm trying to do all the things. I'm like panting. I have sweat dripping down. It's been 5 minutes, and it's a 45-minute class, friends. And so I'm like, I'm not going to make this. I get to the 15-minute mark, and I get to the 15-minute mark, and I literally feel my feet are numb. I can't feel them anymore, which I guess is a normal thing when you're first starting spin. Again, nobody told me this. I had no idea. So my feet are numb. I literally feel like I'm going to pass out on this bike. I'm dizzy. I unclip myself from the clips of whatever they're called, and I get off, and I'm just like, I can't do this. Like, I'm going to seriously either throw up or pass out right here, 15 minutes into my beginner class in front of all these people I don't know, which again was my worst nightmare coming true. Okay. And I leave the class, and I sit out there. The sweet people who work there are like trying to give me like towels that smell like eucalyptus and mint or something. And I'm like, okay, trying to like wipe it off. And I sit there for probably like 5 minutes, compose myself until I can actually breathe again, and I leave. And that was my first class. And I remember feeling not 1 ounce proud of myself. Like I mean, I showed up, I did it for whatever I could do, but I wasn't proud of myself at all. And I was actually kind of pissed, like kind of mad that Jay would even make me do this. And so I go home, and he can see, because my face is like, I mean, it has never been redder in my life. I go home, there's still people in my garage working out, and I just like go into the house, and I just start crying. I'm like so overwhelmed with what just transpired, and kind of like, man, I thought I would be better. I thought I could do better. And I was sorely mistaken. So immediately like thoughts of like, I need to tell the team this situation come into my head, but I'm like, let's just wait. So then the entire next week, I fly to Texas, and I'm doing stuff because we're building a house. And so I kind of like forget a little bit about how hard everything was and like how I was feeling. And then I come back, and I'm like, okay, I have a choice here. I can let my first spin class experience define where I'm at, and I can never go back again, even if it's free, right? I could never go back again. Or, and I was thinking about you guys this entire time, like, what would I tell my team to do in this situation? What would I encourage someone to do in this situation? And I'm like, seriously feel red right now, even talking about it. So it's probably even harder the second time for me to sign up for a class than it was the first, because now all of the fears that I had in my mind actually did come true. Okay. All of those fears actually did come true. The things that I was so scared of happened. Okay. I didn't do well. So, and you guys, I like doing well. I pride myself on being good at things. Like, I feel like I feel like I'm good at this business. I feel like I'm a good mom. I feel like I'm a good wife. Like, I feel like I'm good in a lot of areas, but in this one, I'm not good. Okay. So I get back from Texas, and I decide I'm going to sign up for another class against my better judgment. Right. And I do. It's another Saturday class. And I'm like, I mean, when I came back the first time, I was sort of mad. Like, there was nothing about that class that was beginner, like at all. Like, nothing about it that was beginner. It was just like, throw you to the wolves, hope you can not drown in the middle of this whole class with all these other people. So anyway, the thought of doing it again was almost even like more terrifying than the first time, because then I kind of knew what to expect, you know, like I knew what was going to happen. So this was last Saturday, just a few days ago. So I signed up for the class. Of course, it's the same instructor. And I remember sitting on the couch before I left for the class, and I looked down at my heart rate monitor, and it was already at beating like 100 beats per minute. Like I was terrified. Like my heart was racing. I was scared to go back. Like this was not easy for me. But again, I kept thinking of you guys, like, what are they going to think? What would I tell them if this was them and they were, you know, not necessarily in like a fitness thing, but like in life, if you're going to face another fear, what would I have told you? And I would be, you know, so proud of them if they went back and did it. If any of you guys did something that was really hard, I'd be so proud. So I'm like using you guys as fuel, whether you know it or not. And I sign up for the class. I walk through the door, okay? And I get to there's like a little locker room area, kind of sort of like has lockers. And there's a girl there that I recognize who had been at that first class. She was right in the middle, the one who I kept looking at and who looked so like on the beat and all the things. And she was like spinning so fast. Her legs, I've never seen anyone's legs go that fast. I was just like, she's so amazing. I can't believe how well she's doing. And I introduced myself, which was also a big step, guys. Like I haven't really done things like that in person in a long time. I haven't talked to people in person. And I said, you might not recognize me, but I'm the one who like couldn't make it through the class 2 weeks ago. And come to find out, her sister is the instructor. Okay, her sister is the one who is up there. And so I'm just telling her like I did my best. I did my best, but like I literally was gassed within the first 5 minutes. And she was like, oh, I should tell you a story. Like my first time, I was the same way. I couldn't make it more than 15 minutes. And she was like, let me give you a secret. Just turn the knob all the way down so that your resistance isn't really high, which of course, before I was like cranking it up. Like, I don't know what I was doing, obviously. Anyway, so she's giving me all these like tips, and she tells me, a year ago, I was 50 pounds heavier than I am today. But because I've been coming to these classes and because I've been doing this consistently, I've lost that weight. Now, to me, that was when my first light bulb moment went off. I had assumed that this girl was uber fit and she had always been uber fit, and she was always like, it just all came natural to her and she didn't have to work for it, right? I assumed that about her. Because she was right there and I was kind of like trying to compete with her in the middle, someone who clearly has been doing this for way longer. So it was kind of like relieving, and I got to share a little bit about like how terrified I was to even come back. Like it was just this big deal. And I like talked to her sister for a couple minutes, and they're like the most encouraging people. The two of them are like encouraging me, like, I'm so proud of you for coming back. It ended up being like a super small class. It was the two of them and then one other girl who was also an instructor there. And they were so encouraging to me that it literally like made me tear up before we even started the class. And I said, you know what? My goal is just to make it through. Like that was my goal at that moment, was I just want to make it through this class longer than I did before. And so the moment came when we sat there and I'm like, on the bike, and I'm trying to listen to what she's doing. And before I know it, like everything's starting, I'm getting like I look down at my watch and I'm at the 15-minute mark, like totally feeling like proud of myself that I had made it at least as far as I did the first time. And then I'm like, then the switch flips in my mind and I'm like, I can actually do this longer than I think. So we're going, and you guys, I realized, because the girl said, don't ever worry before the class. She's like, don't worry about trying to follow all the moves. Just do what you can do. And so when I was sitting there, I was like, okay, Julie, do what you can do. Do your best. Do your best. It doesn't have to look like the girl next to me. It doesn't have to look like the instructor that's on the other side. It just has to look like what's best for me. So I did my best. I kept my legs moving. They did fall asleep again, but I kept my legs moving and I kept going the entire time. I'm like, okay. And when it got really hard, I was just like, take some deep breaths, Julie. Like, you're going to get through this. This is just like a little, they're like calling it a mountain or whatever it was. And I'm like, you can still do it. And it got down to about 40 minutes in. And, you know, I'm consistently in like the 155, 160 range of my heart rate. So I'm like working hard the whole time, whether or not I'm following all the moves or not. And it gets to the end, and 40 minutes, and she turns off all the lights and she says, just take a moment and do whatever, take whatever you need. If you want to pray right now, if you want to, like, whatever it is, just like you're on the bike, it's just like, this is your time. And she plays this song. And to this day, I don't know what the song was, guys, but I'd never heard it before. And I'm listening to the words. And all of a sudden, I start crying in the middle of that class. And I'm like, just all of a sudden, so freaking proud of myself that I even walked back in that door, that I decided to do something that was really hard for me. And that I am not only like doing it, but I'm doing my best the entire time. Did it look like the girl next to me? No. So I'm like, of course they have towels in front, and I'm like, thank you. There's a towel. I'm covering my face because I don't want everyone to see like that I'm having a moment here. And I'm just like, so like overcome with like being proud, you know. I make it through the end. And it was like, truly, once you got to that 40-minute mark, like it was pretty much over at that point, or like 35 minutes. I'm like, okay, it's like kind of like warming down or whatever. And I talked to, like, I just feel so overwhelmed with like, yes, it's my second class. Yes, I have so far to go, but like I actually faced this fear that was actually really big for me. And it might not, you know, that might not be a fear for you, but something else would be. And I faced that fear for myself. And I was so wrong about all these, like these assumptions I had made about these girls. And we start talking at the end, and I was just like, I'm just so proud of myself. Like I kind of overcome with emotion in there. I'm like, thank you so much for telling me your stories. Like I would have never guessed that they were 50 pounds heavier, and like that they had worked so hard. And the instructor tells me, like, I thought we lost you the first class. Like I thought you were done. I thought you weren't going to come back. And she's like, I'm just so proud that you came back. And for me, I was just like, I'm proud of myself too. And the whole time I after I finished that, and I was in the car, and I was like sitting in the car, I was just like, wow, you know, that first class, I made it 15 minutes. And I was so proud of myself at that point that I even made it that far, but also kind of embarrassed that I only made it 15 minutes and I had to leave a class in the middle, because like their website always says like, don't leave, you know, but I was like, I can't. Anyway, so I get through it, and she doesn't know me, but like she posted on her story that it made her remember why she became an instructor in the first place. So here I am having a moment of being proud of myself and not realizing that I am directly having an effect on someone else remembering why they started, why they wanted to do it, right? And I didn't realize I would get emotional saying all this. So, yes, it's fitness related, guys. But I relate this back to our business so much. I know there are things in our business that terrify you, okay? I know that there's something that we have asked you to do. Maybe it's go live, maybe it's posting on your personal page, maybe whatever it is, that literally makes your skin crawl and makes you break out in hives when you're thinking about it. What is it that is part of our business that does that for you? If you want to tell us in the comments, I would love, or the chat, I would love to hear. There is always going to be something you're not good at, okay? There's always going to be something that you're not good at first. Was I good at getting on that bike and doing that spin class? No, actually I sucked. I sucked hard, like bad, okay? Bad, embarrassing. It was not good. I was not good at it. I'm not used to that feeling. I like being good at things, okay? But the only way that those girls lost the 50 pounds and have felt good about themselves and were good at doing all the moves on that bike was because they consistently came. She said that they come every week. They have a couple of classes, and they're always there. They consistently came. And I just kept, like, I was up at 3 a.m. the other night, like thinking of ways that like this relates to our business so much and what we're doing in our business so much, that I just felt this like overwhelming need to tell you guys, because I think so often we believe that we are the only one going through something, that we look at everybody else's stories, everybody else's journeys. We look at everybody else on social media, and you might be looking at me and thinking, this comes so natural for her. Oh my gosh, she doesn't struggle with her business ever. Like, oh my gosh, everything she does is just easy. And you might think that about me. I would think that about me. Honestly, if you're honest, I would think that about me if I saw me out there, okay? I think about it too from some other people. And that is the reason why we say, stay in your own lane, keep your blinders on, don't compare yourself to others. What I realized in that class is that the only person I could compete with was myself and how I did the previous class. Did I do better the second class than I did the first one? Yep. Did I feel proud of myself when I actually finished the class rather than skidding out in 15 minutes? Yes. There's nothing better than feeling like, oh my gosh, I just did something that was really freaking hard for me, that I had to face a fear that was really hard for me, and I came out on the other side. Does that mean that the minute I stepped off that bike, I was a pro at the class and that now I can go in and I'll know all the moves? No, it just means that I actually did it. I took a first step, okay? I am not good at it yet. You might not be good yet at this business. It might not come naturally for you. It might not be something that you think about all the time, but it will be if you keep doing it, if you keep showing up for yourself, if you keep competing with only you, what you've done, like maybe what you did last week, like maybe your goal this month is just to do $1 more in sales than you did last month. I don't know what that is for you, but I just feel like this overwhelming need to tell you that we all have something that we suck at, okay? We all have something that does not come easy for us. And if we keep looking at other people and keep comparing our journey to theirs, we're gonna never feel any sense of accomplishment within ourselves because we're only gonna always be comparing to everybody else. The beauty of this business is that it is yours. The beauty of this business is that you get to take it at whatever pace you want. The beauty of this business is that you cannot be good at it today, but if you keep showing up, if you keep doing things, you will get better. And before you know it, you're going to be the pro who's leading a class or leading a training, and other people are looking at you as this like example of where they want to be. You have to be brave enough to suck. You have to be brave enough to say, I am not good at this out loud, but know that you're going to be good at it if you keep going. Okay, I did write notes and I never looked down. So let me see if there's anything else that I wanted to make sure that I said. Yeah. So I think that when you feel that like sense of pride within yourself, like that's what I feel like I want for you guys in this business. I am so much less concerned with what your numbers are on a leaderboard or like how many people you're recruiting in a month. I care so much more about who you are and what you're learning. I know that like this business has grown exponentially for me. We have a team now of 2,000 people, right? And it seems like, whoa, that's happened so fast. But when I look back on my almost 3-year journey, my first year at least, I was working like 12, 14-hour days, like consistently working. And the only person that knows how hard you're working is you. The only person that knew how hard I was working in those beginning days or now is me. The only person who knows is me. So when we're asking you guys to like giving you a challenge or saying like go live on your personal page or like go send a message to someone, the only person that knows if you do it is you. This business will only work if you actually do the things, but it has to come from you too. Like you have to find, like nobody could walk through that door in that gym for me. Nobody could walk through and nobody could put my booty on that bike except for me. Nobody could push the pedals forward except for me. I can give you guys all the tools in the world. I can show you all the trainings that have helped me in my business. I can give you all the things that I feel have really made me see success in this business, but the only person that can push it forward is you. The only person that can make this business go is you. And nobody knows how much you're working except for you. And that's a two-edged sword, right? Like, it's hard. Now I feel like, okay, now when I go back to that class, because I am going to go back and I'm hoping that I will just get better and better, because I think that's, you know, proven true within my entire life. I'm going to get better the more I do it. And so will you. So if there's something in your business today that feels really hard, or maybe like, I think we're all feeling this kind of, I wouldn't say slump, but I think it's harder today to work our business than maybe a year ago, where everybody was like, you know, just starting to be home and they all wanted to have nails. And so running your business was a little bit easier and you didn't have to work as hard, right? Now we're kind of getting into a place where we actually have to show up a little bit more. We actually have to do some of the work. And does that mean that it's going to be easy? No, you guys, that class was not easy for me. It was not easy in any, like, I still was panting the whole time. I'm glad they have loud music and no lights on, because I still was bright red when I was doing it. But I know that it will get easier. It's still work. This business is still work. It's meant to be, you guys. It's meant to be work for you. This is like a job. It's fun too, obviously. It's like, you know, the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my whole life. But if there's something that is in your way in this business, because you're letting it hold you back, because you're scared that you're going to fail, you're scared that you're going to fall, you don't want to walk through the door, you don't want to do it because you're just scared of what people are going to think or what's going to happen, you're never going to get better. You're never going to be able to get back on a bike, right? If I let that first ride define my entire like journey with this fitness company, I would have never returned and I would be missing out. I would have never had that conversation with that girl who told me, oh no, I actually really sucked the first time too. I didn't make it through my first class, but I've kept coming. Like, all these assumptions and all of these things that I had made it this huge deal inside my head, right? Like we all do in certain things that we're scared of. I'd made it such a big thing in my head that like it paralyzed me almost. So I hope this encourages you guys today to know that we all have things that we are not good at. Spin classes is that for me, and I'm hoping that I can get better at it. And I'm not saying that I like it yet. It's only been 2 classes, guys, but like I want to keep going because I want to see myself progress, you know, and I'm hoping that that's how you feel with your business. So that is kind of what I wanted to share from my heart and give you guys like a little bit of like a glimpse into what I struggle with and things that are happening with me. And I know that your struggles may be different. Like fitness might not be something that you struggle with at all. And maybe you're opposite of me and that comes so natural for you, but this business doesn't. Whereas for me, like this business is like I could talk about it all day. Like I just love it. So I want you to think about one thing that you are willing to suck at today. Like one thing in your business that you are willing to not be good at, but that you are willing to continue to do. And you guys, I know that that is hard. That's hard for you. And I'm going to make a thread inside of our team page that says like, what are you willing to suck at or something? And I'm sorry if you have kids and maybe that's a bad word. Sorry. But I'm going to write that down because I want to encourage each other. Like when I finished that class and those girls were like encouraging me, it made me feel so good. Like, I'm so proud of you. I didn't think you were going to come back and you did. And I'm so proud of you. And I want to be that like support for you, but just know that the only person behind the scenes that knows if you're doing the things that you say is you. And so you need to have enough pride in yourself to follow through with what you're wanting. So anyway, yes, someone said, have you seen the movie I Feel Pretty? Yeah, it is sort of like that, right? That was a good movie. Anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to share with you guys tonight. I wanted to make sure that I felt this prompting to be able to share my story with you guys and hoping that it would resonate with you in whatever way that looks. Hopefully with your business that you can kind of parallel it. And thank you for jumping on, showing me your beautiful faces tonight. And I can't wait to hear what you're willing to suck at. And I can't wait to see your journey at getting better at that. Yeah. So thanks, you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being amazing. I would not want to be on this journey with anyone else. I'm just so honored to be your leader, and I can't wait to see us grow together. All right. Have a good night, you guys. Bye.